Yes, hello everyone. It's Saturday. How are you today? Knackered, frustrated after a full morning spent on that wonderful website Skyscanner. Yes, me too, but that is all we're going to say about that. Let's just dive in at the main talking point. Finally, UEFA, those wonderful people we'd never criticise, have released the Champions League group stage fixtures, and more specifically for us, Group F's fixtures. And this is what they look like. And yes, right away, the major headline there is in the top line in white. It's Celtic versus Real Madrid. Opening match, Tuesday the 6th of September. It is going to be mega. And the amazing thing is, it is only 10 days away, 10 days away. Like, it is coming up so fast and it's going to be absolutely epic. And that's just match day 1. After that, we travel to Poland to take on Shakhtar Donetsk. Then match day 3 sees us travel to take on RB Leipzig. Then after that, Leipzig and Shakhtar Donetsk come to Glasgow in match days 4 and 5. And we finish the campaign with the small matter of a trip to the Santiago Bernabeu. Will we go into that final match against the 14-time European champions in their own backyard, needing a result to qualify for the last 16? Would you take it right now? It's just so exciting. The one thing I wanted to mention, just from looking at the fixtures, you may have noticed a difference in some of the kickoff times on the left-hand side. Obviously, we've been out of the Champions League for a good few years now. And since we were last in the tournament, they've actually started a new thing. It's been going on, I think, 3 or 4 years, to be honest, but not since we've last been there, where now out of 8 fixtures that take place on a match day, so a Tuesday, for example, 2 of them kick off at a much earlier time. It's a bit like what the Europa League does, except in the Europa League it's a 50-50 split. In the Champions League it's a 75-25 split, and somehow we've managed to have all of our away games kick off at 5:45pm Scottish time, which seems kind of weird luck, but I guess it doesn't really matter a great deal. The only implication I can think of is people maybe having to rush home from work early to see these matches, but for people actually going, and certainly for the team, it's not going to have much of an effect at all. And in terms of how the actual fixtures have fallen, again, it's what happens on the pitch that obviously really matters. But I think these fixtures have fallen pretty favourably. You look at that opening game, Real Madrid, yes, it's Real Madrid, but is that a bad time to get them? As I mentioned in yesterday's video, they do tend to be slow starters in the group stage. Is it out with the realms of possibility that we can get a draw from that game? I genuinely don't think it is. Watch us lose 6-0 now. Match day 2 then, Shakhtar Donetsk, given all the stuff going on there, unfortunately for them, it does seem like that's going to be our best opportunity to maybe pick some points up away from home. Match day 3, RB Leipzig away, yeah, tough game, but we've got them coming to Glasgow after that. And match day 5, Shakhtar come to Glasgow. So I think between match days 2 and 5, that's the campaign right there. It's those 4 against Shakhtar and RB Leipzig that are going to determine, whether we finish 4th, 3rd or 2nd. And I think there's a real opportunity in those 4 games in the middle there to try and pick up, 3 wins possibly. That would give us a massive chance of qualifying for the last 16, even more so if we could pick up a point in the home game against Real Madrid. Ideally by match day 6 they're through as well, and maybe take their eye off the ball a little bit. I just think it's worked out quite well, but as always it's going to be what actually happens on the pitch. But exciting stuff. We also now with these fixtures know what every Celtic fixture looks like until the World Cup. We have 19 of them confirmed at the moment. That will shoot up to 20 if we beat Ross County next Wednesday. And this is the full list. And what a fixture list it is. Some of these dates could change, by the way. It is worth saying that. So much to catch your eye there. The obvious one that, again, is just coming up in like a week's time is Rangers at home on 3rd of September. And then Real Madrid at home 3 days later. I mean, is that not the most incredible period Celtic have had in like years? I mean, dare I say it, the match against Rangers is the smaller of the two. When do you ever get to say that? It's crazy. The bit that caught me as well is just October. It's a potential for 9 matches that month. And you're talking Leipzig away, Leipzig at home in there, Shakhtar at home as well, a trip to Tynecastle, a League Cup quarter-final, possibly. You know, that could be against Rangers as well. It is hectic. Hibs in there as well, a trip to the Tony Macaroni. It is just incredible. And then right after that, at the start of November, that trip to the Bernabeu. It's amazing. It's going to be pretty scary and terrifying, and it's going to be a roller coaster. But we know Ange loves a roller coaster, and if you can't go into a period like that with so much on the line and so much potential for things to go so badly, but equally so much potential for it to be like the best 2-3 months of your life supporting Celtic, there is just, if you kind of go into that with the most amazing feeling, then you're in the wrong sport. Quite frankly, you're probably supporting the wrong club as well, because this is what Celtic are about for me, and it certainly beats what we had a couple of years ago, getting battered from Sparta Prague and teams like that with no fans in attendance. I think right now what we should do is just park the Champions League stuff and talk about tomorrow, because believe it or not, amidst all of this hysteria and fervour, we have a pretty big game against Dundee United at Tannadice, and that is exactly what Ange would want us to focus on. And by the way, happy birthday to our wonderful leader Ange Postecoglou, who turns 57 years old today. Now, I wanted to get a little bit of a scoop on Dundee United from my pal Tom, so when I had a spare 5 minutes yesterday, I caught up with him to get a bit of insight on their current struggles. So what is the issue at Tannadice, or is it indeed issues?
There is one big issue, and it's Jack Ross. We've just completely lost our identity. Last season, okay, it wasn't as exciting as it has been in the past, which was probably a good thing. We needed a season of stability, probably more than a season. And then Courts left. He got us set up. We were very difficult to beat. We didn't take too many pacings over the year he was in charge. And okay, we weren't brilliant in front of goal, but we proved last season that you don't need to be scoring 2-3 a game to get up into the positions that we want to be in the table in terms of fourth. But since Jack Ross has come in, we've just completely lost that defensive solidity. And okay, the result at home against Alkmaar was incredible, really good. The away leg has undone that. And we've had quite a lot of conversations with pals about how bad that result has been, because ultimately that was probably just about as tough a draw as we could have got. I don't think anyone realistically was expecting us to get through it, or at least get through it comfortably anyway. But the fact that we got beat 7-0 just kind of undoes all the work of the first leg, and the fact that if it had been maybe 3 or 4, you could kind of legislate for kind of dropping off in the league for the games against Living Hearts. Again, we weren't really expecting to get much of Tynecastle against this Hearts side, but I think it was understandable the fact that we underperformed against Livy at home, because we were gearing up for this game in Alkmaar, and then only to get turned over. It kind of just doesn't make sense, and kind of ruins the first leg. And the atmosphere is toxic at the moment, just about already, given it, and it's just only August.
So obviously Sunday, if it doesn't, I take it before the game, the atmosphere will still be good. I mean, it's a big game, but if it doesn't start well for you, could it turn toxic?
It could turn really quite bad, I think. It's disappointing, because I think Jack Ross was a fairly popular choice amongst the fan base. Not for me personally, I was not too enthused, especially given that Courts did work, and that was a bit of a outside of the box appointment, and one that made sense for the club as a whole in terms of somebody's going to prioritise bringing through youths, not going to look to sign players that have kind of been there and just about done it in the Premiership before. But there was rumours Jack Ross had walked away or had been sacked earlier on this week, and I'd personally got my hopes up, and then obviously they've proven not to be the case. And across the fan base, it was a bit of a split. I think there is still a lot of people that kind of yearn for that, yearn for the having a manager for more than a season, or in this case more than 3 months, if that. But there was also quite a large chunk of the fan base were pretty happy to see the rumours that he'd gone. But ultimately, he's still going to be there on Sunday. And there's a chance, given how good you guys are, that he could not be there on Monday afternoon.
It's just interesting because Jack Ross was this really highly rated manager, did wonders at St Mirren, went down to Sunderland. As much as that didn't go great, he still came out of that with a fair bit of credibility, I would say, given the state that club were in. Obviously, even at Hibs, early days, there were promising signs, and it didn't work out there at all. And now Dundee United, it just seems as if things are going badly. It's interesting because he's gone from being one of the most kind of hyped Scottish managers, people talking about him for the Scotland job, I think, before Steve Clarke came in, and now, struggling like mad because you've signed decent players. I mean, maybe you hinted at it there in terms of maybe not the right profile. Some players, maybe someone like Stephen Fletcher is someone you feel is one of those players that's slightly over the hill. But, you look at the calibre of players you've signed, you should surely be doing better. Could it just be waiting on that game where it all clicks?
It could be the case, and I suspect Sunday will not be that. I think if we can keep the score down, it would probably be just a decent result for us, given how poorly we've been recently. And as you say, the business on paper looked pretty good. I think I shared the view of the majority of the fan base was pretty happy with Fletcher, and I don't think anyone was complaining about any other the business. And obviously getting Levitt, incredible signing. I think his ceiling, and even right now, he's too good for us. And that would be both us as an average Premiership side or a pure Premiership side as we are now, and also the side that finished fourth last season. I think I was surprised maybe yourselves or Rangers didn't pick him up, or I think what was most likely was maybe a move to English Championship or a good League One side. But and saying that, I think he'll probably be gone in January, which will probably be disappointing, but good to make some money on him. But yeah, the business on the whole was really quite enthused by it. McGrath, really highly thought of. Didn't see too much of him when he was at St Mirren, but comes with a good reputation. But then it's just not worked on the pitch. And I hope it's just one of those ones where we kind of are trying to change the system a bit. Obviously, last season it was defend first, and I wouldn't say there's a clear if we're trying to play on the front foot under Ross, but there definitely has been a bit more of a change to be a little bit more on the front foot than we were under Courts, which might take its time, and hopefully it is just taking its time. It's not just a case of the fact that there's maybe just the players aren't buying into what Ross has done, or they're not good enough to do what Ross expects them. But I don't think that's the case, given that, as we've said, the signings were pretty top quality in terms of realistically what we could expect of the club.
Yeah. In terms of Sunday then, is it almost like damage limitation? Do you feel, I mean, if you put in a similar performance to the Alkmaar home leg, you a fair chance, I would say, of maybe taking something, because that was a really good performance that night. So you do have it in you.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think the big part of that was the fans and the atmosphere. I think that's one of the best atmospheres I've seen at Tannadice ever. I've been going there for just about 20 years now. It was incredible. And while I don't think we'll be booing Jack Ross onto the pitch and moaning from minute one or anything like that, the atmosphere won't be quite the same. I think that's partly down to how poor we've been since that game, but also Sunday 12 o'clock kickoff doesn't really lend itself to a great home atmosphere at Tannadice.
So things not great at Tannadice at the moment. Hopefully we can pile on a bit more misery tomorrow. Nothing against Dundee United at all. I just really fancy another 3 points. This is a team that I think will go for Joe Hart in goals, Josip Juranovic at right back, with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Moritz Jens at centre-back. I feel like it's Jens' position to lose at the moment, and he's a big Coldplay fan. Anyway, Greg Taylor, left-back, Callum McGregor in midfield with Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate back in to the starting lineup. I think he was good enough against Aberdeen and showed that he's more than able to start. Jota on the right, Kyogo through the middle, and Maida on the left. I think that's the team we'll see tomorrow, full strength. Then Wednesday against Ross County, fair chance we see a few changes there. Maybe that's the kind of game Giakoumakis would come in for. Certainly Anthony Ralston, I'd expect to see him in. Aaron Moy as well will probably start that game, I'd suggest, given that we've then got Real Madrid and Rangers coming up. It's like Ross County, Rangers, Real Madrid. It's like the 3 R's. and it just gets bigger and bigger as things go on. So I think we'll see changes in midweek, but in terms of tomorrow, it's just going to be full strength Celtic looking to get another big 3 points. Relatively confident in the team that they'll apply themselves in the right way and their quality will shine through in the end. I think, the team go into the game expecting the best version of Dundee United, and if it is the best version of Dundee United, it's potentially a tricky game for us. So I wouldn't just assume that we're going to turn up and batter them. I think we'll be able to tell pretty early on. As Tom says, the atmosphere at Tannadice will be very interesting. If they start well, I think the fans might sense an opportunity to really get behind the team and see it as their turning point. But equally, if we get an early goal or even just start really fast, which I think we will, the atmosphere could turn at Tannadice and really, play into our hands, especially when we're just feeling so good right now. So enjoy the game if you're going. It is live on Sky Sports. It kicks off at 12 tomorrow, and we will have a reaction for you afterwards. So yeah, contain that excitement for now. Business tomorrow, and we'll chat to you after the game.